Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Greenhorn Barbecue and Beer. I'm the Sassy Kitchen Queen.
And I'm Todd.
Okay, so today we're going to be smoking a couple of racks of ribs, beef ribs, on the Yoder, Wichita.
So the choice cuts from two completely different grocery store chains. One's a discount grocery store chain, and the other is a more higher end. And these ribs ended up being about $1 a part per pound, but very similar cuts. You know, as you may or may not know, a beef back rib comes from the primal part of the cow before everything is cut. But what the butcher does is, in cutting out that big, beautiful, juicy ribeye steak that we all so love, we're left with the back ribs, and that's why you get these little divots in them and stuff. So a lot of people think, well, you know, there's really not a lot of meat left on the bone. Why even bother barbecuing them? But you know, they're super tasty. They're not that expensive, and you buy a few of them, and you can definitely get your fill of delicious back ribs.
Yeah, especially with the new rubs we picked up over this past weekend. So I'm excited to try it out. I gave it a little taste, and it's pretty delicious. I'll show you what that is in just a few minutes.
So we're going to take both these back ribs, and the Sassy here is going to be seasoning them up identical. We're going to be cooking them on Hickory on the Yoder, and then we're going to taste them at the end and see, was saving $1 really worth it or not? And that's what we're going to check out today. All right, so I'm going to go get my smoker ready, and Sassy here is going to go ahead and take it from here.
Okay, here are 2 racks of ribs. This is from our local discount chain. It looks like they did a pretty good job of taking off all their silver skin. I think I'm going to take off just a little bit of this hard fat right here. And then we'll get to this one. This one looks pretty good, just a little silver skin. This one we got from a higher end grocery store. And it looks like most of the meat is on here. These are meaty. It looks like they dug deep for them ribeyes on this one. So we'll take a little bit of the silver skin off of here and some of that really funky fat, you know, that looks like this. And I'm going to go ahead and take care of that. You don't want to watch this. And then we're going to rub these beef ribs down with some Cosmo's dry rub cow cover. This stuff is really tasty. We picked this up over this last weekend on a trip, and I'm excited to try this. This is a new rub for us. And my binder is going to be Worcestershire sauce. So I'm going to get started. These are the only 2 ingredients we're going to be using today. Okay, we're going to leave the membrane on so that our ribs don't fall apart. Just keep them all together. I'm going to go ahead and rub them out down with this Worcestershire sauce. We're going to let these 2 racks of ribs sit and sweat for a little bit while husband gets the Yoder ready, and then he'll come in and take it from there. So don't forget to smash that subscribe button and tap that bell. We'll be back.
All right, guys. So we're out here in the backyard. Sassy did a great job trimming up those back ribs and getting a little seasoning on those. So while those sweat up, I'm going to take the loaded Wichita here from Yoder Smokers, and I'm going to get it ready. So today I'm going to be using oak to get the pit fired up and to get it up to temperature, and then just before I put the meat on, I'm going to switch over to Hickory. So we chose to use the offset smoker today to get the maximum amount of flavor out of those ribs, knowing that it doesn't take very long to cook them at all. I want to get some smoke on them. And there's no better way in the world to get that good smoky barbecue flavor than using a stick burner offset smoker with real hardwood. So let's get at it. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is open this thing up nice and wide. And as you can see, I've removed the top shelf here just to give us a little bit more room here. I've also preloaded a little pan of water here to get a little moisture in there. And when you're starting up a stick burner, wide open on everything. So today we're going to be using these tumbleweeds. All right, guys, so I want this pit to do two things before I go putting that meat on it. I want it to get it up to temperature. So I got an ambient temperature around here, about 65 degrees right now. It's partly cloudy. So I'm going for about 250, and it's only going to take maybe a half hour to 45 minutes to get a nice stable temperature. The second thing I want it to do is burn a lot cleaner than what you're seeing here. This white smoke is bad. It's only going to ruin a piece of meat. Now this ain't no pellet smoker. A little bit of smoke like this is good on a pellet smoker, but not on a stick burning offset smoker. So get that smoke blue and clean, close it down, make it stable, and then put your meat on. Okay, looks like we got about 275 right here. It's burning really clean. So I'm gonna go bone down with these because it's gonna help protect the ribs, because with this Yoder smoker, most of the heat comes up from the bottom. Thanks, baby.
You're welcome.
And I'm going to put the bigger end of the meat toward the fire. And my smoker, it's more predictable in the left zone than the right zone. But over here, I got some water. And now I'm just going to shut it down. I'm not even going to look at them for another hour. All right, guys, like I said, I'm not even going to look at those things for about an hour. Now, the FDA, Food and Dope Association, they say that for safe eating, you should bring pork up to 145. But for proper fat and connective tissue rendering and breaking down, you really need to get up about 195, 205, in that realm right there. But in order to get there safely, we're going to be hitting up with some water and red wine, apple cider vinegar. And when I get close to 205, I'm really going to start probing it. I want it to be probe tender pretty much everywhere I intend to eat it. And if it means going a little over 205, that's okay. But I also want to get that magic hour, the magic minute, when it just starts getting probe tender. That's when I want to take them off. I don't want to get it too long because I don't want them to fall apart. I want good tug. I want good chewing. Yeah, chewing. So there we go. Spritz. Check the temperature. Probe it. Sassy's over there somewhere. I'm not sure where she's at. She's over there somewhere. All right, guys. So 4.5 hours later, right away we noticed a difference between the two types of ribs. The cheaper of the two that didn't have as much meat on the bones had really great pullback, and they looked really awesome. But the rib that was $1 more a pound, they had a little bit more meat in between the bones. They weren't as aggressively cut away from the ribeye, or the ribeyes weren't cut away as aggressively. They didn't have as much pullback. So let me just stop trying to explain to you, and we'll just get into it and showing you. All right, guys. So the discount food chain ribs which they were sold with a very aggressive cut. As you can see, it didn't really produce a very meaty rib. The reason they had such good pullback was there just wasn't a whole lot left on the bone, as they say. The more expensive grocery store chain rib that was a little bit more expensive per pound, that had more meat left on them, turned out a lot better. A lot more meatier, as you can see. That cow cover looked pretty good. And I'm gonna go ahead and take a bite of this.
Try to eat over the ribs. Sassy picked those ribs. Just saying.
So Sassy picked those ribs.
Here.
Okay, I think we're in agreement. Spend the extra $1 a pound. And get the meatier back ribs, beef back ribs. It's worth it. Just because you have good pullback and a smaller looking rib doesn't mean it's going to be as good. These are much better than those other ribs. So anyway, the cow cover tastes great. The ribs, I would say, I'm gonna go ahead and taste these discount store brand ribs that were over butchered.
They look good.
Not bad, you know. I would say they taste about the same as the big box store. Just not enough meat. Not enough meat. There you go.
That's pretty meaty. There's a lot of, they're real chunky. They just separated and pulled back a little more. The other ones are meatier and they didn't pull back as much, but they're all good. They all taste the same.
They're both good.
They're good.
They're both good.
So they both taste great. That cow cover really adds a nice, it's not too salty at all. There's not salt.
I told you.
There's
it
a
was
tiny bit of heat.
flavorful.
You can taste just a little bit of the vinegar.
Look at that juice.
You're going to focus this. There you go. That looks awesome. All right.
Dude, these are Sassy's beef ribs.
So guys, it looks like, I'd say the only difference between the two Rex ribs here are really the quantity of meat that's on the bone. Spend the extra money, get a beefier beef rib, and it's going to taste much better. Otherwise, I think the taste is just about the same.
They taste the same.
Yep.
They
So,
have the same, they're both beef and they have the same.
so guys, if you like this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button, tap that bell so you don't miss a thing, and we'll see you on the next one.